Hi everyone, my name is Diana Fernandez and I'll be talking to you about Chapter 4, Situation 2. The situation. The principle of the mean states that people tend to move around the middle in their personal position, fluctuate along the average in their individual performance, or equilibrate toward a model point in their collective activities. So, for example, when an organizational employer uses this principle of mean as a guide to how he manages his workplace, someone or a few that outstand from the average may not do so well in this environment, solely based on how the employer is using the principle of mean. The particular. Alibaba has a friend named Nathan, and Nathan works at this research institute. Nathan is a very accomplished assistant, and he has done so much already for just being a one-year assistant. He has already done 2 research projects. He's obtained a prestigious grant. He has been published 3 times in first-rate journals. And therefore, based on this alone, you can already tell that Nathan is an outstanding employee. Going into his second year at the Research Institute, Nathan continued to strive in his merits and laid out a good lay of the land for him as a good assistant in the research world. By the middle of his third year, Nathan had already completed the amount of work that somebody who would have been there for 6 years, and he's only been there for 3. Therefore, Nathan thought that he could go to his unit leader and ask for early promotion. The promotion he wanted was to be an associate scientist. And to be an associate scientist, he has to be there for 6 years. So he was told by his unit leader. She pretty much told him it's not only about all the success he has had in his own individual work, he also has to put the hours into it as well in order for him to become an associate scientist. So Nathan, of course, he listened to his unit leader and moved on his way. Another year went by, and Nathan decided that he has excelled in his performance. He's succeeded in everything he's been asked and what he has done for the research world, and tried again to appeal for early promotion. His argument and his appeal was that for a candidate that is much more deserving for promotion when he or she has accomplished over a shorter period of employment far more than what is expected of a regular employee through the normal duration of progression and rank, therefore he has already met those merits. Even though his argument was valid and well put out, he was still denied early promotion. Therefore, Nathan moved on and continued to excel in his work and didn't ask for an early promotion again. Time had passed, and he tried a third time, and this time he went to a higher leadership. But again, he was met with setback, and the higher leadership told him no. So to recap, he was being pushed back by all these levels of authority and didn't know why, and therefore he was facing discrimination, and not only as an individual, but he was facing it by the institution. The discriminator in this whole scenario is the institution. This institution is currently ran by, you would say, average employees, because why wouldn't anyone want to promote an individual who has already done so much for their scientific community and try to keep him down, when in reality he could do much more if he had a higher ranking in the scientific world. Within this institution, Nathan had to individually screen out the agent and agencies that all reviewed his personal file for him to get early promotion. And this, I believe, is conspicuous discrimination, because he literally had to see who was stopping his promotion. Like, it wasn't just a group, it was multiple people within a whole institution, and that already is a hard battle to defeat. The first person he went to see why his promotion was denied was the unit leader. She was making all these excuses as to why he couldn't apply to get early promotion. She found all these trivial issues within his record, and Nathan had to argue with her to understand, like, her points were not valid. When he went to the personnel committee, they had to again question him and all his work, and he had to defend himself to tell them he deserved his promotion. And in the middle level, where it was the director of division, you think that he would look at his personnel file and see that he was qualified, more than qualified for this position, but usually the division leader goes with the side of the unit leader, and therefore that's where his promotion consideration stopped. And as far as the president of the institution, they as well only take recommendations from the lower level managers, such as the unit leader or the division director of the institution of that department. So Nathan was met with a lot of hardships, and he was already being beat down by all this discrimination at every level that he tried. Clearly, the victim in this entire scenario is Nathan. Nathan had to be victimized not only by the institution, but by also individuals within that institution, his colleagues, his unit leader, the division leader, the committee, the president. Every attempt he tried to get early promotion, he was met with discrimination. And it's really sad, because his first attempt, since he was the victim in the situation, he knew he was being overlooked, because 2 other colleagues of his in his department were promoted before him 2 years earlier. So you could clearly see that people were trying to keep him at bay for only being this exceptional person, exceptional employee. No actual factual reasoning were behind their discrimination. Therefore, Nathan had to compromise. And his compromise was to just allow himself to believe what his colleagues, his unit leader, the division leader told him. And this is subjective. This isn't objective. He thought that whatever they said was the truth, and that's how the process went. And this is completely unfair, because he could have done so many other things in order to get heard and get that early promotion. He could have gone to the activists on campus or the institute and told them, hey, I'm facing discrimination. Why isn't my record enough for me to get promotion? Or he could have gone straight to his unit leader every day and demanded her to go line by line as to why his work was not enough. Or he could have maybe gone to the media and put the institution on blast and let everyone know that they're being unfair and discriminatory towards him, only because he was this exceptional person, and made everyone else feel maybe inadequate. Maybe they felt that they weren't enough, and therefore it was the only way they could feel better was to put him beneath them, and or maybe they were just lazy. And I honestly, it just, all their reasonings were just ridiculous. And in conclusion, the universal aspect, this was from the chapter itself. It said, discrimination against the extraordinary in the workplace often goes unnoticed because, in the eyes of the ordinary, the extraordinary already receive more recognition and rewards ahead of the game, or at least will obtain what everyone else gets on normal schedule. Meaning that because they are so exceptional and above the average, they already get so much recognition. They don't deserve actual rewards for being this great employee. And I think that's not unfair. These people worked really hard to be exceptional. They're not doing this for bragging rights. They're doing this because they are that motivated and in awe of what they are doing, that they want to succeed. They want to push forward, not just for themselves, but for the community as a whole. They want their field to grow, and they want not only their mind to grow, they want other people to grow with them. And I think it's unfair that they face this discrimination just because they are better than the average Joe. And in conclusion, as in any case of institutions versus individuals, discrimination against the extraordinary involves clearly identifiable individuals who consciously anguish with mistreatment and injustice while not always knowing exactly who and what are ultimately responsible for the victimization. And that was a quote from the book, and I completely agree with it. Sometimes people don't know if they're fighting discrimination at an individual level or at a institutional level, and it could happen at both scenarios. It could happen at the same time. And unfortunately, Nathan was a victim of both discriminations by the institution and as an individual by his colleagues. And that is completely unfair. And hopefully there will be ways the world could do better to be inclusive and help everyone achieve a higher ranking in life. Thank you.